Hello, welcome to my second Kings of War battle report. This is going to be a 1500 point battle. I'm using Elves and I'm going up against a guy who goes by the name of Tatty Bojangles on Universal Battle, and he's using Abyssals. So I'll put a copy of the army lists in the video description, and I'll just go over deployment now. So my elves at the top, and I just want to say this straight away, is that after the game my opponent pointed out that this is actually an illegal army, because I have not enough troops, or rather regiments and hordes. I don't have enough for the amount of war machines and characters that I have, and that's something which I just completely overlooked at the list building phase. So I really need to pay closer attention to that. I think I have an extra special unit, so I would need to drop one of the characters or bolt thrower or something, I think. So bearing that in mind, obviously I've got an advantage here anyway, for having an illegal list. But my deployment then is 3 bolt throwers on the hill and 3 Drakon riders. I've got a mage behind the archers there, and the mage has got the inspiring talisman and bane chant too. That's a horde of archers with heart-seeking chant. Next to the rocks I've got a regiment of Stormwind cavalry. Behind them a army standard bearer with the healing charm. So he's kind of similar to the mage. I've got a unit, a regiment of palace guard with chant of hate. And finally a Drakon riding hero with the armour that gives him +1 defence, so he's got a 6+ defence. And the Abyssals from left to right have got tortured souls, gargoyles, an Archfiend, which is the red monster. He's actually got wings, and the Quicksilver Rapier. Then they've got a horde of lower Abyssals. I believe they have crushing strength 1, and next to them I think that's an army standard bearer. Over by the building there are 2 units of Abyssal Horsemen. I think that's a mounted army standard bearer, or possibly, I'm not sure what that character is at the back. And then another horde of lower Abyssals, and I think they also have crushing strength 1. So they're only defense 3, I think. So Abyssals get the first turn, and they just move everyone up. They've got no ranged attacks. I think one of the army standard bearers has got some really short range attack. So the tortured souls and the Archfiend and the gargoyles are obviously going after the bolt throwers and Drakons. Lower Abyssals in the centre. The 2 units of horsemen hang back because obviously they don't want to get into charge range of my Stormwind cavalry. And the lower Abyssals on the far right, they're going to be hindered quite a lot by that ruin there. They won't be able to march through it. They can only move, I think they move 5, so it will take them a while to get through there. My turn 1, there's not much movement. I charge the Drakons into the tortured souls on the left hand side, and I think the only other movement is my Stormwind cavalry sort of come round a bit by that rock and angle themselves, making sure to be more than 16 inches away from the Abyssal Horsemen. And basically if that horde of lower Abyssals now advances towards the archers, I'll be able to flank charge them. In the shooting phase I get bane chant off on the archers, and they already have piercing 1, so they're going to get +2 to wound. I fire everything at the Archfiend, including the bolt throwers. Not as devastating as I thought it would be. I do 8 wounds, which is a fair amount, but I think I rolled a lot of I failed a lot of the wound rolls, I think. And in combat I do 5 wounds to the tortured souls, and they're fine. Abyssals turn 2. The gargoyles get a charge off on a bolt thrower, and the Archfiend is in range to charge the furthest bolt thrower. The tortured souls charge back into the Drakons, and I think they've just got crushing strength 2, so they're not going to be affected by having taken wounds in the previous turn. No other charges. The Abyssals in the centre do advance up towards the archers and expose themselves to flank charge. Both of the Abyssal Horsemen units hang back a bit, and you can see just how slow that the horde of lower abyssals on the right hand flank is. It can only move 5 inches, and it looks like it's going to take forever to get through that ruin. So obviously there's no shooting. In the combat phase, the Archfiend destroys the bolt thrower and angles itself towards the flank of the archers, and the gargoyles obviously still easily kill the bolt thrower and now face the other one. The tortured souls did 3 wounds to the Drakons. I was fine, but they've got life leech 2, so they heal 2 wounds back, so now they've only suffered 3 wounds. Elves turn 2. So the Drakons charge back into the Abyssal, into the Tortured Souls. The Stormwind Cavalry charge the flank of the lower Abyssal unit. My Lord, or Hero on Drakon charges the left-hand unit of Abyssal Horsemen. Hopefully I will be able to stop them from charging the Stormwind Cavalry next turn. I also turn my archers round on the spot to face the Archfiend, and I reckon I can finish him off this turn. My Palace Guard just move forward ever so slightly. They're still making sure to be outside of the charge range of the other unit of Horsemen, so I think they can move like an inch or something forwards, maybe a bit less than that even. In shooting I get Bane chant off on the archers again, and so with that piercing 2 they easily destroy the Archfiend, and the bolt thrower gets lucky and also does enough wounds to destroy the Gargoyle unit as well. So combat, left to right, the Drakons do 5 more wounds to the Tortured Souls, but I think I just roll poorly and don't break them. In the centre, the Stormwind, I got 32 attacks. I did a ton of wounds, 18 wounds, but with the reroll from that Army Standard Bearer there, I only managed to waver them, and I think demons have, or Abyssals, have some special rule that they can ignore wavered results. I think it's called Fury. So actually that doesn't matter, they'll still be charging back into my Stormwind next turn. My Lord just does his job and does 3 wounds to the Abyssal Horsemen. Wasn't expecting to break them or anything, just to stop them from charging my Stormwind next turn. So Abyssals turn 3 now. The Tortured Souls charge back into the Drakons obviously. The lower Abyssal Horde charges the Stormwind. Abyssal Horsemen charge my hero on Drakon. The other Horsemen advance enough to be in range to charge the Palace Guard next turn. And just look at that horde of lower Abyssals on the right hand flank, still crawling through the ruins. Don't do ruins, kids. Don't do it. So in combat, the lower Abyssals do a few wounds to the Drakons and manage to waver them. The lower Abyssals don't do that well against the Stormwind Cavalry. Do 6 wounds and I'm fine. And the Horsemen do 4 wounds to my hero on Drakon, and he's also fine. Elves turn 3. My Drakon Riders are wavered, so they can't charge the Tortured Souls. My archers turn round to face the lower Abyssal Horde, and my Stormwind decide to snub them and turn away from them. My hero on Drakon charges back into the Abyssal Horsemen. Now my Palace Guard move forward and angle themselves slightly. Basically, if the right hand unit of Horsemen charges the Palace Guard and doesn't break them, or even if they do actually, I'll be able to charge them with my Stormwind, and if they charge the Stormwind, my Palace Guard can charge them. So it's pretty much a lose-lose for those Horsemen, and mainly thanks to that lower Abyssal Horde on the right hand side being stuck in the ruins. If they were positioned differently, I don't think I have enough bodies to cope with them, so I'm very lucky that they're out of the game at the moment. In shooting, contrary to what I said earlier, I don't even need Bane Chant on the archers, because the Abyssals are already defense 3 and I've already got crushing strength 1 on the archers. And they'd regen some wounds. I think they regen 4 wounds, so they only had 14 on them, but I still easily did enough to destroy them. And I got really lucky with the bolt thrower, because the Drakon Riders are wavered and couldn't charge. It meant the bolt thrower could then shoot at the Tortured Souls, and I just did enough wounds to kill them. The hero on Drakon doesn't do so well though. He doesn't do any wounds to the Horsemen. Abyssals turn 4. The left hand unit of Horsemen charges my hero on the Drakon, and the right hand unit goes for broke and charges the Palace Guard. And the lower Abyssal Horde that still survives is finally free of the ruins.
This feeling inside me finally found my love, I finally broke free.
And in combat, the Horsemen kill the hero on Drakon, but the other unit of Horsemen fighting the Palace Guard, they do 9 wounds and waver them, so they're just a bit unlucky not to destroy them there. Elves turn 4, the Stormwind Cavalry get off their charge into the flank of the Abyssal Horsemen. The Drakons just fly round, and the archers advance and then pivot to easily shoot at the lowermost unit of Horsemen. In shooting, I put 5 more wounds onto that unit of Horsemen, so they're at 10, but they don't die. I'm not sure what their nerve rating is. I think it's probably pretty good. My army standard bearer also heals a couple of wounds onto the Stormwind, so they've only taken 4 wounds now. So with the flank charge, I easily kill the Abyssal Horseman and turn my Stormwind round to face the other unit. So at this point in the game, it would be the start of Abyssal's turn 5, and my opponent concedes. So I can see how that will probably play out anyway. Obviously the Horsemen can charge the Stormwind Cavalry and finish them off, but they will die in return, probably be killed by the archers, and then it will be all of my units, so my archers, Drakons and the Palace Guard versus the lower Abyssals. The lower Abyssals might be able to take out the Palace Guard, although they're out of range next turn, but they're not going to win in the end. So well played to my opponent, and obviously Tatty Bojangles does have the moral victory because my list was not legal. So I was really gutted when I was informed that I'd made an error, and in future I definitely will take a lot more care when designing my lists. So we both enjoyed the game anyway, and I'm really liking Kings of War so far. Hopefully I'll be able to get some more games in the near future, and possibly maybe even some real life games as well sometime soon. So thanks a lot for watching, and see you next time.